So, welcome. Here we are again. Welcome to Guitar Chat. Here we are. We keep doing this, and we're so happy to have you at the other side of the screen, of course. As you might know already, Guitar Chat is brought to you by Vegatrem, the best tremolo systems in the world, for sure. And this is the number 53. We've been doing this 53 times so far, and as you know already, I keep counting every time. So we're getting closer to the holidays, to Christmas, and hopefully everyone's out there, celebrating, or they're about to celebrate with the family, with the friends, with everybody, and everybody's ready to have a good time. We sure will, for sure. This is the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the time to hit like, to hit that like button, and to leave some comments here in our live streams as well. Why? Because if you do so, you're going to be eligible to our t-shirt giveaway. You can win one of these pretty cool t-shirts just by commenting, leaving your comment here in our live stream. Only by that you're going to be eligible to win. And the winner of last show's t-shirt is Mr. Tim Ziegler. Congratulations, Tim. We're going to get in touch with you and we're going to send you your t-shirt to your home. Congratulations. You also have our discount code, which is 15%, and it's going to be good for the 48 hours after the broadcast of this show. So be aware, because at any moment of this show, we're going to have it here down below on the screen. And you have to be aware, you have to be alert, because with that discount code, you can go to our website and make your purchase. You can buy as many trams as you want. The only thing is that you can use it only once. And another cool thing that we have, we started this fall with this, is the Vegatrem challenge. You want to know what it is? What's this? If you play guitar and want to be part of the Vegatrem family, listen to this. We are introducing the Vegatrem challenge. Each month, we will propose a piece of music for you to play. It could be a lick, a phrase, a riff, etc. You will have to learn it and make it your own. You can use it in any way you want. You can change the tempo, you can change the fingering, change the key, change the harmony. We want you to be yourself. Each month we will announce a new Vegatrem challenge. Once you learn it, you can start making your video. Then follow these steps. Number 1, follow us on Instagram. Number 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Number 3, tag us on your video. Number 4, use the hashtag Vegatrem challenge. Among all the participants, we will choose the best one, and the winner will have a brand new VT1 for their guitar. The name of the winner will be revealed on the first edition of each month on our podcast Guitar Chat. Are you ready? Well, don't miss this and grab your guitar. Yeah, so there you go. It's pretty easy to win a VT1, and besides that, we wanna see you. We wanna see you playing guitar, participating, using our lick, our phrase. Hopefully, you're gonna be the next winner. If you don't win this month, don't worry, because we're doing this every month. So yeah, I mean, every month you have a new chance to participate. You have a new chance to win. So don't give up. And without further ado, let's talk about today's interview. This week on Guitar Chat, we have a very, very badass player, neoclassical shred, and flamenco player as well. His name is Alexios Anest. Don't miss this. This week on Guitar Chat, we have a guitar virtuoso who's currently working with the famous cinema composer Hans Zimmer. Alexios Anest is a multi-instrumentalist, composer, producer, and recording artist. A classical musician in spirit, but a rock and roller at heart. Alexios' music ranges from classical music to shred. We will talk about his career, his experience, and his upcoming projects on this episode of Guitar Chat. Okay, so here we are. Welcome to Guitar Chat. Here we are one more time. This time with Mr. Alexios Anest. He's such a badass. You guys are gonna know him better now, and he's been a member of the Vegatrem family for a while now. So welcome, Alexios. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Jose. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good, and so happy to have you here at Guitar Chat. We've been, talking back and forth, trying to make it happen, and today finally we made it. So I'm very happy. So that way we're gonna be able to get to know you a little better, right?
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I wanna talk to you about different things, but I'm curious as to how do you start playing guitar, getting involved in music. So tell me a little bit about your beginnings as a musician.
All right, I'll try this like you've never heard it before.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was 14, I started learning electric guitar and taught myself until I went to college. And up until I went to college, I was doing mostly like classic rock, that kind of thing. And then by the time I went to college, I met my best friend named Thomas Chen, brilliant classical pianist. And he got me into classical music, which took over my life for the next 5 or 6 years. So I really didn't play electric guitar for that whole time. Until probably, 6 or 7 years ago, I really started to get back into it. And the rest is history.
That's awesome. But tell me something, because so you were a 14-year-old and you got into, because of your friend, till that point you had been listening like Led Zeppelin, things like that, right? Classic rock.
Yeah, that was my life. Led Zeppelin, Metallica, that kind of thing.
Awesome. But what happens in your head when you discover classical music? Because I guess that wasn't the coolest thing, right? For teenagers back then, right? What happened there?
Well, during those four years when I was in high school, of course I was learning a lot of the classic rock, but there was, I would say Yngwie was kind of the thing that did introduce me a little bit to classical music. So I was like, there's something really cool going on there. But it wasn't until I had never really heard anyone play it in real life. But when I met Tom and I heard him sit down and he played Chopin Ballade No. 1 on piano, and I was just like, what is this? That was the first time I really experienced classical music in that way. And so from then on, it was like, yeah, I need to get as much of this as I can,
So were you able to read music back then when you discovered classical music, or not yet?
No, I was just like every other 14-year-old with the guitar. I learned how to read tabs, and that was it. So yeah, but I was so impressed by the classical music, and that was the only way to really learn that, was to learn how to read music. So I studied intensely for those first couple years of college, and then by the end of that time I could read, not sight read, but I could read pretty
Decently,
darn good.
right?
Yeah,
like good enough so you could learn all the pieces and everything.
exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And what were your favorite composers in to learn to play classical music and things like that?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to learn Chopin because I was so impressed by that, but he didn't have any guitar pieces, so I had to kind of do some research and find who were the guitar guys, and so Agustin Barrios was one of the biggest ones, of course, and Fernando Sor.
Yeah.
And gosh, it's been a while, but yeah, those were the main two. And of course I studied a lot of Bach, both on piano and guitar, which was probably still my number one to this day.
Yeah. I mean, some people consider that. Well, I've heard a lot of things, right? They also say this about Beethoven, but some people consider Bach to be the first heavy metal composer. I don't know if you agree with that.
It's funny because I feel like people say that about like whatever genre that they're into. There's a lot of flamenco guys who say Bach is the most flamenco composer, So it's like, I think it's just music, he was so musical that everyone can see like the root of just about everything in Bach, So
everyone can relate to that, even the jazz guys too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, Bach, I mean, I read a lot about his improvisational ability. And when you start to realize that he was probably improvising like most of those pieces that he was writing, which is just mind-blowing.
Really?
Like the fugues, I'm sure everyone knows this story about him improvising, 3-part fugues and 4-part, and just the sheer mental capacity you have to have in order to do two voices at once is but he could do 4 and then 5, even 6. So it's just it doesn't make sense. So it's always something to learn from Bach,
Oh yeah, he was a true genius. That's for sure. I mean, I have no idea about classical music. That's first of all, but me as a rocker, I totally appreciate his sound. Because he's got a distinctive sound. No matter if you've heard him like just a couple of times, you automatically know it's him, and
exactly.
And that's very, very impressive in everything he did. That's why we're still talking about him this day, right?
Yeah, he has stood the test of time.
Awesome. Yeah. So that was part of your musical your musical growth, right? And then having like a little bit of experience, or maybe a lot of experience, but condensed in a few years, you decided to jump into the electric guitar, right?
Yeah. So after I got done with college, I kind of got burned out in the classical music world, where it was like, everyone is very polite. You have your recitals, everyone does a polite little clap between your pieces and everything. It was just kind of too sterile for me. So I had the urge to get back into the electric world, but throwing everything to the side that I learned in the classical, I mean, that was a big new toolkit for me moving forward. So I just tried to combine it all.
Of course, I mean, because you were probably already into the classical world, but you were missing a little bit of the dynamics of rock and roll, I guess. And
exactly.
Then you incorporated the classical knowledge that you learned into your electric playing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm far from the first one to ever think to do that, and of course there's so many who do a similar thing, but I try to do it in my own fashion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can tell, by when I hear your music, your original music, I think it has a lot of neoclassical, shred kind of thing. Like, for instance, when you talked earlier about Ingvar, that's the first name that comes to my mind whenever I hear your music. But you also have something else going on that it's very, very, very cool, in my opinion, because due to being a classical player as well, you have the other side, right? The classical side every now and then, within your music, and that's I think, in my opinion, that's a personal cool thing that you have, with your music.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, of course, no one. I of course don't want to just set out and do exactly whatever Ingve did or Uli, and just. I think it's very easy to do that, and there's a lot of guys who do that, and more power to them. But I try to focus more on the compositional aspect, and that seems to be more of my own personal strong point, I guess. So I try to expand on that, what's already there.
That's right. Well, first of all, you have a flawless technique. We were talking earlier about your picking technique, and that's a tool. That's a great, amazing tool that you have. But I think you are, whenever I hear your music, you are into the composition. I don't know if you are more interested in that than the shred part, or if it's just 50-50. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm kind of all over the place. I think, of course, I try to keep the composition at the heart of everything. Everything should kind of be working towards that goal of moving people.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, everyone wants to just shred as fast as you can every now and then. That's part of the fun of it,
Yeah.
But I try to, I don't know. I just try to do whatever is the most fun. And if something sounds fun, then I'll do it. And if there's a reason to do it, and sometimes if there's not a reason to do it, you just do it anyway. So that's the main thing for me, is to like, what is the most fun musical sounding thing, and sometimes it's going 100 miles an hour.
That's right. Well, that's always fun. I'm sure of that.
That's always fun.
So tell me, how did you develop that technique? Because I'm not a shredder, or maybe not in the style you are.
You were definitely a shredder.
Thank you. I try to do my stuff, but my point is that the alternate picking thing, that you have going on, I've never been able to achieve that level of proficiency. So I guess my question is, how did you develop that? What was the whole process?
Well, you're probably lucky. You probably got more dates because of that. You didn't waste your time with a metronome.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it's funny because I didn't really get that together till after I came back the second time and focused on electric. Before, I could play really fast when I was a kid, but I realized looking back, it was like all legato playing. Like I wasn't really picking. It was all just like moving my left hand. So yeah, it was after I learned the classical. And I would say a big influence on my guitar was Anest name. Do you know who Glenn Gould is?
No, I don't know him.
He's a brilliant classical pianist. He's kind of one of the main recorders of Bach's music, and one of the guys that brought his music back to the mainstream. And he had so much clarity in the way he plays. I recommend you to listen to it, and anyone else who's watched, go look up Glenn Gould playing Bach. And so that was kind of a big influence on how I wanted the guitar to sound. So very clear, very articulate.
Man, that's awesome. It's very interesting to me, because every time I hear a guitar player like yourself talking about another instrument as something that gives you the inspiration, to pick up your instrument, I always think it's more interesting, because otherwise you're gonna become a copy of the guitar player you like, But if you take inspiration from other instrument players, you're gonna get something more interesting. I don't know if you agree with me with that.
I do. I think I don't completely agree with anyone who says, don't listen to guitar players, like only listen to other instruments. I think you can get too snobby with that. I love listening to guitar players, of course. Yngwie is like, I love listening to Yngwie, like, and but I think the thing that I love about it is that it didn't always sound like a guitar, So then that led me to dig deeper, like, what is he going after? And it was more of the violin, the keyboards, the pianos, and everything like that. So you realize there's this whole other, in the orchestral world, there's so many other sounds you can try to make with a guitar,
Awesome. Yeah. That's very interesting. Okay, so besides the classical music, besides the electric shredding and everything, you also have another superpower, which is a flamenco guitar, right?
I don't know.
I've read, I mean, I've read you were in Granada, here in Spain, studying flamenco. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, well, I was always aware of flamenco thanks to Paco de Lucia, of course. Everyone knew about him from YouTube. So he was always in the back of my mind. It's like, how is this possible? How can anyone do this?
Yeah.
And so, while I was studying the classical guitar, it was like, I would say Paco was always, like hanging over my head, because it's like I knew that someday I was going to want to go to Spain and get that real. I knew there was source there. So
yes,
because I mean, classical guitar is very beautiful, but it was kind of the same thing. I saw something in flamenco players where it was like just totally unleashed. It's like no limits to the technical thing and the expression of it. And I just love that. So I would say, so anyways, right after I got out of school, I got a job working on cruise ships as a guitar player. And then in between the contracts, I would go to stay in Granada in Spain. And I started called Carmen de las Cuevas, which is like a little flamenco school for gringos like me trying to learn flamenco. And there's a lot of amazing flamenco teachers there. And then, of course, you don't stop learning during the day. Then you meet people, and I met a lot of friends who taught me a lot of guitar after, outside of the class as well. So it was just nonstop being wowed by every guitar player I saw there. It was so fun. Yeah.
Do you think the environment leads you to learn faster? I mean, nowadays there's nothing you can't learn that's not on YouTube, for instance. If you want to learn whatever style you want to learn, you're gonna find an instructional video on YouTube, right? But you wanted to go right there, right, to Spain, Granada. Do you think it really made a big difference to be there as opposed to learning from your own home?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it sounds very cliche. You hear so many people say this, but you can't understand what flamenco is unless you're in, a little tablao and seeing a flamenco show with the dancers and the singers and the guitarists. And it's like, I would say that the experience of seeing those dancers firsthand and the singers, when you're sitting like up front to that, and you realize why the guitar players play the way they do with such, you cannot experience that like anywhere like outside of Spain. So you have to, if you want to learn about flamenco, that was, I would say for me, that was probably the most important thing, because they play with such power, and you can't really describe that or portray that across the internet,
Yeah, that's I think I agree with you, because it's and also it's something that you have to see live, right? You have to, I mean, because you can listen to the records, you can watch videos, but when you see them right in front of you, it's a completely different experience, right?
It is, because you kind of feel the soul of the person that's portraying whatever it is they're trying to express, And I would say that the biggest turning point for me was like, I of course, when I first went, I was watching the guitar players.
Okay.
But that very quickly, changes to being entranced by the dancers. And, not because they're beautiful or whatever they are, but it's like I remember seeing this one dancer, I can't remember her name, but I literally thought she was possessed, like by a demon or something, because it was so insane. And I was like almost scared by the time I left there. And it's like, but those kind of things, when you realize like what's possible, like for one person to express, it's like, good luck getting that on the internet, So.
That's that's true. So tell me a little bit about, because I mean, you being an American, I guess you found all the different rhythms and compases, palos, in flamenco, quite challenging, even though you were already a seasoned musician. But did you find all those things pretty difficult to learn, all those rhythms and the accents and all those things?
Yes, I would say that the basic concept of it is not terribly difficult, but to make it feel like a real flamenco musician, like someone who has been there their whole life, is very difficult to do, and it's very easy to spot, like someone who is really trying to do it versus someone who has really been there their whole life. And I think that is probably, like, I'd have no illusions. I know I will never sound like Diego del Moral or Paco or Tomatito or anyone who has been there their whole life. It's just such a unique thing. But I think when you go there and you experience that rhythm firsthand, and you realize it's not such an academic thing, it's more of just a feeling, you closer to that, So yes, it was difficult.
Yeah, but it's always there's always certain, even though maybe I mean, I had a similar experience, maybe not as deep, but I spent a few years in Texas, and I learned how to play the blues over there, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to sound, the same way they sound, because they grew up on that, But there's always a certain kind of joy on learning something, on getting close to that, even though you don't master it, right? And that's what makes us keep going and keep going and keep learning different things, right?
Yeah, well, I beg to differ on that. You sound like you're from Austin, Texas,
Thank you.
Sounds awesome.
That's exactly what I wear.
Right? Oh, were you in Austin?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. I was there. Yeah, that's right.
See?
Yeah.
It shows. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, maybe it might be a little bit more accessible, of course, to to do the blues, because I think that's something much more innate in everyone. But this flamenco
Yes.
thing is more of a lifelong kind of pursuit. So I'm trying to forgive myself, you know.
No, but you totally sound very, very good, even doing flamenco, and I mean, it's I just think it's very impressive, you know, because all the, I mean, the classical, the flamenco, the electric. I mean, only to be able to do the alternate picking that you do, I would be happy, you know. Only with just one thing, you know, of all the things you do, you know, which is awesome. It's very, very cool, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. So let's also talk about your experience with the famous composer Hans Zimmer, because I don't know. Are you currently touring with him still, or not? But
So I just got done with a tour, another tour, I think it was in September and October, and we did
okay.
France and Switzerland.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so yeah, hopefully we'll continue to do that. That was my second time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just waiting to see if we'll do more now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how did you start playing with Hans Zimmer? How was that whole process? Because it's very, very impressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm still knocked out by it. It was
I
very,
bet.
very strange. You know, it's one of those things that kind of makes me think I'm living in a simulation, because I would listen to Hans's music before I was even playing guitar. I'd listen to,
Wow.
you know,
Of
the
course.
Gladiator soundtrack, which I thought was just the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know. I was just I think it was 2 summers ago. Um, I was here in Colorado doing my little wedding gigs, you know, which is how I make a majority of my living, which is
Okay.
nice.
Of
And
course.
yeah, I get an email, or not an email, actually. It was a Facebook message
Okay.
from this lady saying that they'd been trying to contact me, and she from the world of Hans Zimmer. And I was like, okay, sounds like spam. And then sure enough, like she's like, check your email. So I go into my email, and there's no emails. And
Uh-huh.
so I look in the spam folder, and there it is. So it's like it really pissed me off, because it's like I get my emails, you know, about you know, the electric or you know, internet bill or whatever, but the email from Hans Zimmer, it goes to spam. So I really
Yeah.
need to have a talk with someone at Gmail. Um,
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
yeah,
Totally.
I looked into it, and I was, it still didn't seem like possible.
Okay.
Because I looked at the show, and I saw, you know, Amir was the guitarist for the show, and I had seen this show on the internet, and I was like, yeah, this person wants me to step in for Amir. Amir is like one of my favorite flamenco guitar
He,
players ever.
he's totally awesome. Yeah, he's amazing.
Unbelievable, unbelievable,
Yeah.
man. So
Yes.
it's funny, when I was in Granada, I was like, I saw that he was coming through there, and I was going to get a lesson from him, but it didn't. I ended up having to go somewhere else. But yeah,
Okay.
so I haven't actually gotten to meet him yet, but I would love to. He's such a cool guy, an incredible
He's an
player
amazing
too.
musician and such a sweetheart as well. He's a good
Yeah,
friend of us here at Vegatrem, for sure.
yeah,
He's
yeah, definitely.
one of our best ambassadors. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
For,
Yeah, and it was through him, you know, that I saw the Vegatrem, you know. So thank you, Amir.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, you could see my like kind of disbelief when I saw that I would be, someone said I had to fill in for him. I was like, are you sure you got the right the right person for this? So but then I saw the kind of the details of the show, and then how they have more electric guitar and other instruments, and then it started to make sense, you know, to me, that they needed someone who was insane enough to try to do all those things, you know. So yeah.
So, but how did they found you? I mean, they were browsing on YouTube and they stumbled upon your videos. Was it like that?
I never really asked them, but I think that was happened. They said they found me on the internet. So whatever that means, I'm sure it was through YouTube, because that's how most people discover me.
Wow.
Outside of that, so yeah, that was you know, kind of a credit to YouTube. Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you, YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
it's impressive what the technology can do for musicians right now. You know, they've
Yeah.
taken away a lot of things from us, but also they're giving us a lot of
Yeah.
things as well. So I
Sure.
mean, you got one of the most beautiful gigs a musician can get, you know, in the world.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, man. Like to go from like playing back, like no offense to anyone who plays background music, I still do it, you know, quite a bit. But it's like I had to go from that. There's another funny story I'll tell you later, but going from that into playing in front of like 10,000 people is like, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, you know, until I got on the stage, and something just happens. There's something very magical about that, about that music and that show in particular. It's like almost like a spiritual experience being part of that.
It is, for sure. Yes. Totally. But tell me, how was the process since you get that email that ended up in the spam folder till you go? I mean, did you do like a how you say this, like an audition for them or something like that?
Yeah, so I think the main thing that they were interested in was that I could do the big flamenco solo in the show. You know, so that's some pretty big shoes to fill with Amir. So yeah, that I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but it's a big flamenco piece, Mission Impossible 2.
Yes.
And so they sent me that, and I recorded. I just did it the same day because I was like, I want to make sure I can get this, you know. So yeah,
okay, let me get that straight. You got the music and you recorded it the same day?
Yeah, well, when you get an opportunity like that, you got to go for it, man. Because I didn't know if there were, you know, how many other guys were going for this. So yeah, I just recorded it. It was funny because I was actually familiar with that piece for a while, and I had seen the video of Amir playing that quite a few times, I think. So I wasn't like completely new to it.
You kind of knew it already, right?
I never played it, but I knew the melody and I knew the vibe of it, you know. So yeah, so then I sent it, and I waited a few days, and they had to send it to their music director and everything, and then they sent it back, and they're like, we would love to have you join. And that was wild, but it was wild because that was during coronavirus, and we didn't know if the shows would even happen. So it was like a month of just like waiting and being anxious. It's like, is this really going to happen? And thankfully it did. It did. So that was, yeah. That's doing those little to doing the massive is just such a trip. I don't really know how to describe it. You know,
I mean, it's totally impressive. How many musicians are there on stage in that show?
I think there's close to 50. It might even be more in the orchestra. I'm really bad for not knowing that. And then I think there are like 14 people in the core band, like the soloists.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a massive show, and everyone else in the on this stage is like, oh my God, you got to look them up. They're incredible musicians.
Yeah, I bet you were feeling super lucky, you know, to be there, and also I imagine, how was the first rehearsal when you got to meet all those people and all? Did you guys rehearse a lot before going on tour or not?
It was very stressful. That I would say that was the most stressful day of my life, I think, because getting to the plane, I was very jet lagged, and it's like you go right into the rehearsal. We had a couple days to get everything, but it was really like not enough rehearsal for me to really feel like. So it was like they were all so welcoming. It was like the opposite of what I expected, though. You know, I thought everyone was going to be like on my ass about missing little things in there, but they were so cool. You know, it took me a few shows to get in the rhythm and see how it actually worked. And the conductor was so nice, Gavin Greenway. He made me feel real comfortable. He's like, tonight is real. Like on the night of the first show, he could see I was probably pretty nervous. And he's like, don't even worry about tonight. Tonight's more of just like another rehearsal. And that just kind of relieved the pressure, like to see how chill everyone was about these shows. And then you realize, you know, it's not much different than anything else you've done. There's just more eyeballs on you. That's all. You know. So
that's right. And but also, of course, playing such beautiful music, you know, and sharing the stage with a lot of talent, right? Because you're a very, very talented guy, but of course everybody around you is super talented as well, you know, and that must be one hell of a fun experience.
It's unbelievable, man. Yeah, I kind of get to watch a lot of the show because I'm not playing like, you know, 100% of the time on everything. So I do get to enjoy quite a bit of it as well. And that's really the coolest part, is like you just feel like you're part of this army of like beautiful music. It's really cool. Really cool. It's hard to explain, you know.
There's something that for me always has been very difficult, and it's when you're, for instance, like you said, you're waiting, right, for your turn to play, and because you have a part in which you just don't play, right, and you're maybe right there just reading rests, right, and rests and rests, and the moment your part approaches, you start feeling the adrenaline, right? Does it feel like that for you or not?
Oh yeah. I get a big. I don't know. I used to get so scared, like to perform for anyone, like perform in front of 10 people. Like my hands would shake so bad I couldn't even play. You know. So it was like, how am I going to do this? But I don't know if it's like some kind of guardian angel like that Hans Zimmer has that comes over that whole show. But it's like, yeah, I'm definitely. I wouldn't call it nervous anymore, but the adrenaline is massive on those big shows, and that makes it so fun. Like, because you really like, there's so much pressure in a good way that when it gets released, you know, in a musical, like in those big musical moments, it's so fun. Like it's just so much fun, you know.
Oh yeah, it's like a drag, right? It's something out of this world for sure. Yeah,
definitely.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit. I'm gonna change the subject a little bit. I wanna ask you about your guitars. What's your main guitar right now? What's the main electric guitar you're using right now?
Oh man, I'm afraid to say. Then the other ones will get jealous, you know.
Okay, well,
I would say the main
one of your
electric,
top 5.
Yeah, one of the top 5. The main one is the White Lion here.
Nice. White Lion, it's her name.
Well, that's what I just call everything I own. I had a car I called the White Lion, so I'm going to call this the White Lion too.
Okay.
This has the Vegatrem, of course.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a Warmouth scallop neck, of course.
Okay.
Beautiful guitar. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is what I play 95% of the time when I'm playing electric. And then
Awesome.
for acoustic stuff, it's this Godin Deluxe Multi-Act, which is an incredible instrument. These things, you know,
They're
if you don't know
amazing
about Gordon,
guitars.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, like, because since I don't really play like traditional flamenco, like it really helps me kind of my own thing.
Okay, so those two guitars are the ones that you're touring with currently?
Yeah, so I'll bring the Strat, and then, but actually on the Hans Zimmer, I have to use a more traditional full body flamenco instrument,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
in another room right now. I won't waste your time with grabbing it, but you can see it on the internet.
Problem.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So how do you like the Vegatrem? Are you happy with it?
Oh man, it's awesome. Really fun. Yeah, I think my review says most of the way that I feel about it. It's just so smooth, like coming from the original Strat Trems, which are a little bit restrictive, and they're good in their own way, but this is just on a whole different playing field. So
yeah,
that's
awesome. Well, Alexios Anest, here we are, talking to you, getting to know you a little better. Do you have any plans to come back to Spain anytime soon?
Definitely, yeah. I would love to go back there and see my friends and just keep learning, drinking from the well of that incredibly rich music, you know, and be fun to meet you guys. Are you in Malaga, you said, or no? Or
No. I'm in the right now. I used to live in the south in Andalusia as well, but right now I'm closer to Madrid, to the capital, you know.
Okay.
And the headquarters of Vegatrem is in Mallorca, the Balearic Islands. And I don't know if you've been there to Mallorca.
No, I haven't.
It's beautiful place. If you ever go there, let me know, because I'm gonna put you in touch with the rest of the crew, and they're gonna welcome you there. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful place. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I hope to see you when you come back. Are you coming back out here for NAMM?
Oh yes. Yeah. And we would love to have you there. If you go there, let us know, okay? Because we would love to meet you there in person, you know, and to have you at the booth.
Yeah, that would be so fun. I know it was too short notice for me to make it last year, but I would love to try to do that. Is that? I forget what time of year is that again? Is that in the summer or in winter?
No, this next year is gonna be in April, I think.
April.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a weird date this year. I don't know why, but they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it then. So if you can do it, it would be awesome. It would be great to have you there.
That would be so fun to meet you guys. Yeah, and jam with you. It'd be so fun to play with you more than anything.
Oh yeah, it would be awesome. You can teach me some stuff.
No,
for sure.
shit. No, likewise. Yeah. I suck at the blues, so you could show me how to do that stuff.
Okay. Well, we can trade certain things, you know. That would be perfect. Well, thank you very much, Alexios, for being here. We're gonna leave it here. So this has been Guitar Chat. So till next week, be safe, be happy, and play a lot your guitar. Take care, Alexios.